Good morning. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. I wanted to do a review of Concrete Genie. And I know this game came out a while ago. This is definitely not a new title. Maybe some of you guys never heard of it or you have no idea what the hell it is. And I wanted to do this video to somewhat promote it, but to also tell you that I really enjoyed it. I do a lot of video reviews on more popular games that do moderately well on reviews, like, YouTube hits. Then I do a lot of reviews like this that probably, not a lot of people are that interested in. More people are probably talking about the launch of the consoles or the Black Ops open beta, whatever. But I wanted to take some time to reflect on this game because it's really good. And it was a very fun experience. It did have its problems, I will admit, but such a unique original mechanic. And I really do classify this game as an indie game in the sense that it didn't get that wide distribution as a lot of other games did. And yes, PlayStation did promote it during some of the E3 events, and I'm sure they did a YouTube video or a blog post on the official PlayStation blog. But the reality is, a lot of these games just kind of fall under the cracks. And I think Concrete Genie might have been one of those. And I kind of want to bring it back for a discussion because as we do close out this console generation, I think it's important to make sure we hit all the high notes. And I think Concrete Genie is a high note. So I'm not going to get into story spoilers, not that there is a ton, but I want to talk about the mechanics of the game, and particularly the painting mechanic, which I think if you know anything about this game, that's probably what you remember. It's really fun. I can't really emphasize how neat it is. And it's one of those games where you put into it what you get out of it. And the more you enjoy it and the more you play it, the more it will be rewarded back to you. So the core objective for the most part of the game, and there is a weird twist at the end that I wasn't really thrilled about, but the core gameplay is you painting these genies and painting the walls and the worlds of this abandoned city around you to bring life back to it. And you have a plethora of different types of shapes and designs and stuff that you can paint. You'll unlock more as the story progresses. But it's up to you how elaborate you want to make each of these things. The game doesn't gate you or rate you on content. It doesn't say, well, you have to paint for 5 full seconds in order to progress to the next area, or you must have used 10 of the available 20 shapes at this point in the game to progress. It doesn't do any of that. You can walk up to a wall and just go boop. I mean, like a drop of paint, and the game will say, oh, you've done what you need to do, and you can move on to the next area. But you miss the spirit and the intent of the game, to take your time and to create these masterpieces. And for somebody who is slowly learning how to draw, I can tell you that it's a lot more difficult than it seems, but the game does a very good job of nurturing and holding your hand, essentially, in these really elaborate paintings. And before you know it, you're going to make some really cool things. Now, a lot of the paintings are not static, and I think that's where the game really shines. You have this dull, drab wall, and you'll paint a fire on it. Well, the fire isn't just static. It'll flicker slowly. It kind of reminds me of those old, if you remember Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, those old claymation cartoons. This game uses a lot of that animation style. So it's not necessarily flickering and embering. Sometimes it's just two or three static images, flashing back and forth. But you'll be able to get this thing called super paint, and it'll make it even more elaborate. So it'll turn into like a burning inferno, and it's got lots of embers and sparks. And it's fun. And what's so cool about it is as you paint and build up this world, you're going to be revisiting these places over and over as you explore and navigate through the city and as you unlock different areas. And you could go back and continue to add to your paintings. You can leave them. But they're in all the cutscenes. They're in the loading screen. They're in the, when you turn on the game and it's like, would you like to continue playing? Say, the loading title screen. It's there too. It's everywhere. Your art is everywhere. And what's so fun is towards the end of the game with that really kind of odd late game mechanic, depending on what you drew and how you drew it will radically change how the end of the game plays for you. And I like that. I thought that was a really interesting thing. I did spend a lot of time painting. I did spend a lot of time exploring and collecting all the pages and building my genies and putting all goofy little things on them. The fact that they can come to life and walk around walls and interact with you in the real world, kick a basketball to you in real life that you shoot a hoop in, or, you could sing with them, or like all these fun little like wholesome activities. It makes them come to life even more. And they kind of take on their own personality, and they follow you through the game, and they help you complete challenges and stuff. And it was a really charming experience. There were some drawbacks to it. As I mentioned, kind of towards the end, I thought the gameplay mechanics took a very odd turn. I wasn't really a big fan of that. And it did suffer some pretty significant performance issues on PS4 Pro, which I was really upset by. And I did toggle with any setting I could possibly find to somewhat increase the frame rate. And it would stutter and freeze at really inopportune times. And it wasn't that great. If there was any shining light to this game, and how I'll close out this video since I've been on this virtual reality click primarily because of Star Wars Squadrons. And by the way, if you want to know my thoughts on that, check out War Never Changes 25, because Phil and I do a deep dive of that game. But I gotta say that the virtual reality mode in this game is awesome. It is one of the most fun virtual reality modes I've ever played, and I've played a lot of virtual reality. It's just very fun, and it's creative, and as you paint, basically it's one PlayStation Move controller is the wand, and one is a book of like spells you can collect, or paint palettes you could select and like kind of slap them on the wall. And as you progress through this little virtual reality experience, it slowly transforms, kind of like Tetris Effect, from 2D to 3D, and before you know it, you're in this lush field. And if you paint a tree, it appears, and you can look up underneath it. You can change from moon, day to night. It's a beautiful experience. I can't say enough good things about Concrete Genie. And despite all the negative stuff that I said, you really deserve to check this game out. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.